What is happening, people, and welcome back to my top 10 Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite characters. Of course, this is a list for the Capcom characters. If you want to see the Marvel characters, head over to my previous video. Criteria for this list are no character from the previous game with the exception of one, and of course, no Marvel characters. Before we start this list, a fan shout out to Peach Daisy 64 Rosazina. I really do love this list. It has some classic characters as well as some new ones. With that being said, let's get started. Number 10, Arisen. Dragon's Dogma was Capcom's most successful new IP that was released last generation, and I do think that Arisen would make a cool addition to the roster. He's next in line to the Chosen Undead and the Dova King when it comes down to epicness. Number 9, Falcon. My boy Falcon from Power Stone. Falcon was one of the characters I thought was going to make it to the previous games, but for some reason, he never did. Now that Capcom has said that they will be revisiting some of their old franchises, things are looking up for Falcon, and I think he has a big chance of being in the game. Number 8, Dimitri. Capcom has been passing him up so many times and adding other characters from Darkstalkers to the roster. I get Morgan and maybe Felicia, but Hasenko? Come on, Hasenko. I was conflicted about whether or not to choose Dimitri or Jada, because I do like them both equally, but I chose Dimitri because he's the protagonist, and it just made sense to me. Number 7, Ryu. Breath of Fire was one of my favorite RPGs on the PSP. They haven't really been doing anything big with Breath of Fire, but they are making a new one for Android and ISO. As it relates to his design, I don't really care which design they really use. Even if it's his new one, he looks a little pretty boyish, but I'm like, it's whatever. I will say I do prefer his Breath of Fire 3 design, which is the one you see on screen right now. Number 6, Date Masamune and Yukimura Sanada. Though I know this is cheating a bit, but I thought I would just put both the characters together. They come from the game Sengoku Basara. It's a Dynasty Warriors type game, and they have an anime, which is on screen now. Some people may not know who they are, but I do believe if they were put in the game, they would be popular characters like Dante and Virgil, because the game is pretty fast paced and the anime is pretty over the top. So I do think they would make cool additions to the roster. Number 5, Gene from God Hand. One of the PS2 classics. I never really expected Gene to make it to Marvel vs. Capcom, but I always wanted him. And I don't really know what his chances are being in the game, but he did have a card in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so we'll just have to see. Number 4, Leon S. Kennedy. Leon is arguably the most popular Resident Evil character. Some may say Jill, but unless there's an official poll, I'd say Leon because he had the best games in the series and he had a few movies. And also he's, of course, my personal favorite. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 had Chris, and I know it's due to Resident Evil 5 being the newest and Chris was the protagonist. But they added Nemesis over Leon, and I was like, why didn't they add Shava over Nemesis if they were using the newest characters? And Shava was also the protagonist of Resident Evil 5. And people can't say that she will fight like Chris, because that's just not true. Shava does more of martial arts, and Chris is more of a brawler. Anyway, I hope they add Leon to the roster this time around. Number 3, Azura. Actually, I thought Azura was going to make it into Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate, but for some reason he didn't make the cut. Azura is basically an overpowered Kratos. Just picture Kratos with Superman's powers. His story and his personality are very similar to Kratos, but he is not a ripoff of any sort. He's one of the most boss characters in Capcom and the most OP video game character, so I'm really hoping he makes it into the roster, because the dude's a beast. Number 2, Sieg Warhite. Sieg comes from the game Chaos Legion that was created by the same makers of Devil May Cry. Sieg can summon the 7 Legions of Chaos to aid him in battle. The game plays somewhat like Devil May Cry, and Sieg always reminded me of Dante fused with Dark Fields from Legend of Dragoon, which was pretty cool. And his chances of being in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite seem slim because he hasn't really appeared in anything else Capcom related, but he is one of my favorite Capcom characters, so I do want him to be in the game, and I'm pretty sure if he was put in the game, he would be a very popular character. Number 1, Samanosuke Akichi. Onimusha is my favorite Capcom game, and Samanosuke is my favorite Capcom character. One of the major problems I see with this is that Samanosuke has the face of Takeshi Kanshiro. I do think they can alter his face a little bit so he doesn't look so much like Takeshi, but he still kind of favors Samanosuke. But in all honesty, I don't really think Samanosuke will make it to the roster. I'm not saying an Onimusha character won't make it, because I do think Hideyasu Yuki could make it to the roster because he had a card in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and he was also in Capcom vs. Tatsunoko. So I do think he has a big chance, and I wouldn't be mad because I do understand the circumstances, you know, with the face and the patents and all that other stuff. And you shouldn't be either if you did want Samanosuke. It isn't as cut and dry as some people make it out to be. But I will say Yuki wouldn't be my number one if Samanosuke wasn't on the list. Sieg would have gotten the number one spot. Okay, that is it for my list. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I am sorry I haven't been able to upload any videos in a while. I have been very busy, but now I'm good and I'm not as busy, so I should be uploading videos faster and more. With that being said, of course, don't forget to comment, power up by hitting that like button, subscribe to join the guild, and as always, have a good one and game over.